afternoon, and thank you for tuning in to the Raymond Hall Show. We are so excited to be here today, and we are excited to have you join us. So if it's Thursday and it's 2 o'clock or there close after, it is the Raymond Hall Show. As you'll be able to tell throughout the programming that Mrs. Erica Flynn Walker is not with us today, and she's surely going to be missed, so we'll move on. We are happy to have with us in studio Dr. Barnell Payne. He's going to be here with us throughout the hour, and we're going to be talking about a couple of things. I had the distinct pleasure to hear the mayor's speech to the city on they have reversed that position that they took on housing.
Correct.
We're going to be talking about that today, and we're going to be talking about some other things. And I was glad he put something else in there too. Okay, because these potholes and went out of control. Okay, it's almost like the potholes is growing potholes. Okay, you hit a pothole and your whole car falls into the pothole.
That happens.
Yeah, it's you know, I almost want to talk to them about TBI, traumatic brain injury, about driving in LA with the pothole. You know, it's ridiculous. You know, and at night it's even worse. You know, you kind of see it and prepare yourself for it in the daytime, but at night but now that's our lighter side of the moment. We want to touch on some things that's pretty important. We saw the passing of the former First Lady of the United States, so we have to be respectful. You know, both Dr. Payne and I are both veterans. Matter of fact, he wears a couple of hats. He's commander of American Legion Post 109, and we always try to do our best to be respectful of the structure of this nation.
Sure.
So, welcome, Dr. Payne.
It's good to be here, Mr. Hall.
Okay,
it's my pleasure.
All right. And so we're going to be talking about a couple of things, and a couple of other topics is that we found that in Flint, Michigan.
Oh, that's it. Yes.
Yes. The governor ordered the closure of all of the water stations.
That's right.
Now, the mayor, her article yesterday was pretty in-depth.
And her interview also last night I heard on MSN was incredible.
Yes, that's where I heard it. Yes. I was very impressed with what they've done. They're ahead of schedule with replumbing the city, repiping the city, and that kind of thing.
Why cut them off, the water?
Why cut them off? Right. And you know, they still have these hot water heaters and things that she was talking about that needed to be replaced. You know, it's almost unconscionable that this is the same governor who this happened under his administration.
Correct.
He was the one that they took over the city, and they were the ones that called the shots on the city. And the people who did this, this is the outcome of it.
Yep.
Okay. Now, if you look through it through a different lens, you see mass murder, you see a whole lot of things. But I'm not trying to go there. I'm just trying to say, you know, just because that's Flint and that's Michigan, Los Angeles, Southern California, and everyone else around the nation, we raised to the level of service. We got up and we shipped water from churches. We drove water to Flint, groups, and we acted. Well, put your voice in there. Flint is not some kind of little island outside of the United States. This is not the United States of America and Flint. Flint is a part of the communities that make up the fabric of this nation.
And they pay taxes.
They pay taxes.
Correct.
Okay, that's that taxation without representation. But it's early in the show, so I'm not going off there. I'm just saying these are the things that are very important. You know, our banner is service is a different conversation. Okay, and I'm not just speaking. We're not just speaking here. The service of you is the health of you. If you want to have a correct posture of health, now, if you want to talk about spiritual health or core health or however you want to call it, include service in your life. We're not just talking about military service or that kind of thing that's foreign. Opening a door is service.
Correct.
You know, preparing, putting an extra quarter in your pocket, so when somebody asks you for a quarter, you don't have to fumble for that quarter.
That's service.
That's service. I'm going to prepare to give. So when a giving opportunity comes my way, I'm ready to give.
Correct.
So when we see something, let's not get so desensitized to what's going on in someone else's community that we can't offer up our support. Okay, and do it the old-fashioned way. Since they playing with the email, go get you a forever stamp. Okay, I got me some forever stamps that I don't use. Right. I got just so you can't go up on me when I get to send you a letter. I got some forever stamps, and it's just for this purpose. Send them that governor a forever stamp. And tell him forever. I use the forever stamp because forever you'll be wrong.
There you go.
You caused it. You have some people that is going to work through the solution that you caused, and now to add misery to what you already done, you're going to cut off healthy water.
Yeah, it's amazing. With the interview last night, Flint, Michigan has made significant progress.
Yes.
So why at this point, when they're getting things back, they have tons of crews that are changing all the pipes in the city. However, they still need the auxiliary water.
Yes.
And why cut the water sources off now? Why? There's no reasonable medical, financial reason why they should have the water supply cut off while they're repairing the pipes.
Yes.
Unconscionable.
Yes. There is a reason.
Oh, of course there's a reason. You got a Republican governor.
It's called a bigger version of Starbucks. That's what it's called.
Is that like a small R for racism?
That's like a small R for racism.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Okay.
You did. I mean, for real?
Yeah.
Okay. And I like Starbucks too.
Yeah. Well, there was an interesting incident occurred 2 days ago in Los Angeles where a black man went into Starbucks just to film an episode, and he filmed two Caucasians going into Starbucks bathroom, came from the outside, and left. He again tried to use the bathroom and was refused. That was 2 days ago. After the incident occurred in Philadelphia. So it's still going on.
Well, I was encouraged because the chief executive of whatever position he holds said that he wants all of them closed on Thursday. And they're going to retrain everybody.
That's amazing. So Johnson, the CEO, is going to close all Starbucks. For a day of training.
For a day of training. Okay. And then something else came out that was almost spiritual. The two young men said that they were meeting someone there on a business endeavor that they hope would improve their lives. Now, this is what one of the young men said in Philadelphia.
Wow.
That they were hoping that this business meeting would improve their lives. Now, out of that situation, the head of Starbucks says, I want to meet them. And then the head of Starbucks says, oh, okay, you want to get into real estate? Well, let's see what we can do to help you with your endeavor. So every time somebody try to beat you up, don't mean that whooping is the end result of it. It might be a blessing, but that whooping, it don't make the whooping any easier, you know. There's been a time or two when somebody put handcuffs on me, but I wasn't passive.
No, you weren't. I'm sure you weren't.
No, I wasn't passive, no. But it was okay though, because I had a whole community with me.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
They
which makes a difference, I think by saying that, when you have the community behind you, as they do in Flint, it's going to make a difference. Or as they do with some of these Starbucks problems, the community is up in arms and demanding a change.
Yeah. Oh, we wanted to go to jail back then.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, please lock us up.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I didn't even know the words to "We Shall Overcome" until I got locked up. Hurry up, lock me up. Because every time you do me dirt, God gonna do something to do me good. Okay, right. So we moving on to events and the thing. The young lady that got on a plane to go from one place to another and got sucked out of the plane.
It's amazing. Southwest Airlines has been rated the number one airlines in this country for years.
Yeah.
And how can you predict as they say, mental fatigue. But here's the amazing part about that whole story. The pilot, the female pilot,
combat vet,
was combat Navy vet, who was refused admittance to the Air Force Academy because they didn't train female aviators, so she applied Navy. She was, if you heard the interview, she was so calm and cool, and got that because she had trained for missions like that numerous times as a Navy aviator. She was cool. I mean, it's almost like in this day and age where women are demanding equal rights. There's no reason why a woman can't do the job she did, and she did it well.
Yeah. Well, I am so happy to hear that the rest of the people made it to the ground and survived. But that's just horrific because I keep thinking about the small size of that window and the force that's strong enough to have pull a human being through there.
30,000 feet, you know, that pressure that compared to the inside of the cabin versus the outside, just, and to get hit in the head with shrapnel from that blade of that engine is incredible. It's a horrible situation.
And you dropping so many feet every minute.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's so. Those are just a few of the things that touched me. It was interesting how the Bushes all called Mrs. Bush the enforcer. Said Daddy was okay, but Grandmama was the enforcer. And I said, So I think that what we need to do is just pay attention. That love affair that they talked about really touched me too.
That's 73 years of marriage.
She said the first time he kissed her in public, she said that was it. That was it. She told somebody, you can talk about me all day long, but if you talk about my husband, it better be outside of my hearing range.
We all remember, we certainly we had differences with both Bushes, but I do remember when he was president, respecting his wife. I do remember when his son was president, respecting his mother. People had affinity for Mrs. Bush. I mean, there's nothing negative we said about it because it was something special about her, despite the fact that, I'm a very liberal Democrat. But I respected and enjoyed hearing her talk and what she was doing. And we've had a few first ladies that are like that, Michelle Obama, Eleanor Roosevelt, Amy Carter, Miss Bush, that you really respected as first ladies.
I think I respected all of them for the position that they had.
I did. I even respect this one now. But as far as having affinity and a
wait a minute, we're talking about the president.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh. You just threw that in there for good conversation. Oh, okay. All right, moving right along.
I respect the position of the first lady of the current president. I respect the position.
Okay. Yeah, so because that is something they have.
Because, as you remember in the military, if you're saluting an officer, you don't really salute the officer. You salute the rank and respect.
The position. Right.
The position.
Matter of fact, I didn't even see the person anymore.
Right. Yeah. Right. You saw the rank, and that's what you respected. That's what you saluted.
Yeah. Because I would say 99% of the time, I didn't like the person. I didn't like what they was telling me to do, and I didn't like what they was telling me to go.
But you respected the rank.
I respected the rank.
Right.
Okay. And it was one other thing I respected. Leavenworth. They don't say Leavenworth, people. They say Leavenworth.
For those of you who don't know, that's the military prison.
And once you go, see, because we were escorts and couriers and all that kind of stuff. Once you go there and you see, no, this ain't
that's
for
like
the
going
kid.
to San Quentin.
This ain't for the kid, all
right.
right. So, but the command structure is important, and that's why I have a lot of respect for the men and women that serve. That's what's important. Sure. You are told to go places and to do things that don't always agree with you, but you have been given that command, so you go. And that's one of the things that brings us here and why the Raymond Hall Show is even here. We are gifted with all of this technology, and we embrace it. And rightfully we should.
Sure.
I'm here because of the technology with this heart transplant.
Sure.
But we cannot dismiss the value of service. we just cannot dismiss that.
Well, just on that line, just think about the service that heart surgeon did for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the service, and he did it out of service.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it wasn't the money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but he did it. He was servicing another human being. And when you think about it, that's a tremendous service, just the mechanics and the technology of putting a donor heart into another human being. Yeah. That is supreme service.
Yes, yes. Oftentimes I think about the 18, well, it'll be 18 years in June, but I think about the times that I would not have known if I had not had it. The transplant, and no matter what, I come to the conclusion that I'm grateful. So my reasonable service is to say, you know something, somebody has been tremendously good to me.
Yeah.
So let me just keep grounded there. Yes. Do I make mistakes? Oh my goodness, I make some mistakes that you would think sometimes that I should know better than to make, but I make them.
Well, you can always say that the mistakes that you're making is the mistakes of that person's heart you have, and you can blame it on that.
Well, I don't think that'll work.
No.
I think somebody look at me and what's the word they use? Please.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the other word? Yes.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is that with this experience we have through life, one of the things that is vital, we're not islands. People responded to us. I never will forget that earthquake in San Francisco. Remember when everything fell in San Francisco, the Northridge quake here, whenever the nation literally put itself on hold and came to help Southern California and Northern California. Our wildfires, we're fine 1 minute, and the next thing you know, the Southern California is ablaze because of the wildfire.
And the people came to help.
And they came to help. Okay.
Unlike Puerto Rico.
That was another thing. They fired the subcontractor after the subcontractor put the lights out twice.
The lights went out yesterday, didn't they? Didn't they?
Yes,
they were black yesterday.
They went black yesterday.
And the amazing thing about Puerto Rico is that in 43 days, the hurricane season starts. From now.
Wow.
43 days from now, the new hurricane season starts.
Yeah. I really believe that the voice, no matter what your voice sounds like, we all have a voice that we need to use. And the more you use your voice, the stronger that your voice gets. That's a part of the nation. That's the fabric, there's this thing where if you get a little piece of cloth and you start pulling threads out of that cloth, eventually that cloth is going to fall apart.
Of course.
Because it's going to go back to just little threads.
Yes.
Well, that's the same thing that has to do with the nation. If you start pulling communities apart and separating communities we're no longer a nation. We're just a whole bunch of little threads, little communities. Okay. Mm-hmm. So just being bound together as a cloth, as a nation, is very important. But remember now who they sent down there originally as a contractor. This was somebody that the president had said, send this guy. He never handled a contract that size, never handled a whole lot of things, and that's who they sent down there. I don't know if that's the one they got rid of, but that's just unconscionable. That and New Orleans.
Yes.
Okay. So remember, if you don't use your voice for your neighbor won't be around to use their voice when your time comes. So let's do that. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get into our show. We'll be right back. All right. Thank you for staying with us. This is the Raymond Hall Show. I'm your host, Raymond Hall. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, and Instagram. And if you have a comment, you can call in to the show, 323-293-3375. We're here with Dr. Barnell Payne. He's going to be with us for the whole show. We're going to briefly touch on something here in Los Angeles. We have a tremendous issue with housing, and it's has several contributing factors. Rents going up is a major factor. People who've been stable for years now find themselves
unable to afford affordable housing.
Afford housing because their rents are doubling and all of those kind of things. But the mayor gave an encouraging speech, State of the City speech, and one of the part of the major focus of that, he talked about housing. Now, sometimes you can mean the very best, and the best of intentions don't play out well, boots on the ground.
Correct.
So I'm going to give you something in a capsule, and it's a lot more involved than just what I'm saying, but this helped to make the situation what it was. At one point, there was a lot more emergency housing and temporary housing available in the city of Los Angeles.
Correct.
But the powers to be said that we've got a problem because it looked like the only people that are benefiting from all of this temporary housing are the housing providers.
Correct.
And it wasn't putting people in permanent housing. So they said, let's build more permanent housing. And they shifted the money that was being budgeted from a focus of immediate housing to permanent housing, permanent supportive housing, other kind of housing, affordable housing, and those kind of things. And no one accounted for the fact to do that it was going to take years.
Correct.
To build up that inventory. But yet people coming to a state of homelessness was immediate. It was coming every day. So the homeless population, that was one of the contributing factors, not all of it, but that was one of the contributing factors to the homeless situation that we now see. So what was encouraging about Mayor Garcetti's speech on the state of the city was that he broke away from that. He didn't just break away from it. We've got tools, HHH, and all the bond measures and things that we've done, but the focus had been, toward permanent supportive housing.
Right.
So now what he's saying is that we're still going to continue down that path, but we're going to we need some immediate temporary housing. And that's what was in his speech, and we have some excerpts. We're not going to try and read the whole speech and that kind of thing, but he provided significant resources. $220 million, $493 million, and this is not just to get the emergency housing, but to provide the services that's needed to go along with those houses.
Yeah, and I think that's what, what's going to make a difference is the services that go along. You can't throw a person in a house and not have the service to support them being there.
Correct.
Food and et cetera, and medicines, et cetera.
Correct. New York actually started the housing first. I've seen variations of it in different places and things like that. But years ago, you could walk up to a law officer or a peace officer in New York and say that you were housed, and that they were obligated under the law to address your need. Okay. And because here the thing was, okay, we'll help you with the housing, but you got to go through a program. You got to get the drugs, and you got to get the alcohol and those kind of things. So it kind of complicated the housing issue. And now that's no longer the case here. So this it's another form of housing first. So that's really encouraging. And I'm thinking that there were a couple of barriers. Some communities were saying, not in my community.
Yeah, and that's surprising, and it's even worse in Orange County. More groups are saying, "Not in my community," et cetera. But it's amazing to say that, not in my community, because it really doesn't solve the situation or help it at all.
Well, it doesn't solve the situation, but what it does, it gives them flexibilities to some things. I won't name the city because it's not just one city.
Correct.
You have to, if you take certain funds through various federal agencies, you have to account for certain populations. And one of the populations is the homeless population.
Of course.
So if you do not take certain HUD funds, you do not have to obligate yourself with keeping up with that. So you can really say, we don't have a homeless problem.
Oh, that's amazing. So what you're saying, just to recap what you just said, if you don't accept certain funds, then you don't have to deal with that problem.
That's
but
right.
If you do accept those funds, you deal directly with that particular population of people.
You got to deal with it. So that's why you see in some cities, the law enforcement entities are more proactive in moving persons that are without housing permanency on.
That's similar to the whole thing about Obamacare. If you don't accept the funds for expanded Medi-Cal, well, then you don't have to deal with it. Because you don't accept the funds anyway, which is insane not to accept federal funds to help you with health care. But if you don't accept it, then you can continue your same racist ways.
Right. And that's what's going on. It's institutions. Like I said, I won't call the names, but they're out there.
It's amazing on that same line what happened the day before his speech. The VA, Westwood announced the fact that beginning last night, that their entire parking lot is open 24 hours to homeless vets and cars. So you can now go, and they'll provide supportive services too. Because what has been happening in the last 6 months or year, vets who didn't have a home but had a car, were driving to the parking lot at the VA hospital in Westwood, but they were escorted out.
Right.
As of last night, they can stay in the parking lot and camp out there.
West Los Angeles, the VA hospital in West Los Angeles is the largest VA complex in the nation.
I didn't know that.
Yes. And back in the early days of me coming here, the VA West LA parking lot was the camaraderie spot.
You did tell me that one time.
Yeah, that was the place where you could sit and talk and male vets, female vets, just sit, laugh, have yourself a good time. And this was when the VA really hired veterans. When the kitchen really cooked, and they were the real vets. They cooked in the Army or the Navy or whatever, and they got jobs. Everybody that worked there, and a lot of the doctors and nurses were vets and stuff as well. So you saw a lot of people that when they got off from work, their position, they'd come out there in the parking lot, sit and talk to you and laugh, and that's the unofficial way of how we got around and got services and that kind of thing. I commend the VA. I went to 11,000, and they were so proficient up there, it scared me. Long lines.
I know, and they remodeled the place. I went up there and I almost got lost. I was shocked because
you go to the fifth floor, right?
And they said no. I said,
you go to the 2.
Yeah, and I was. They had these nice benches, and it was like I said,
soft lights, and they speaking to you nicely.
Yeah, I thought I was on the movie set of 2001.
I told them don't lock that door.
I know.
Okay, you trying to get me in here, but can I get out quickly? He said, yes, sir. Just touch the thing, and you get okay. I'm just checking.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank God that the VA is changing because
bit by bit.
Bit by bit, there's still some issues, but they are changing. So we just wanted to mention that they have finally recognized that they're going to be addressing the housing issue in Los Angeles. So let's everybody still be encouraged. And and he put fixing the streets in the budget too. No more potholes. Okay. I thought maybe they had a deal with the auto repair people in there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. In fact, I remember there's I go to Davis Brothers Tires over there on La Cienega, and
where you just drive
watching
through
and you get your tires. But anyway,
yeah.
and they were telling me, they said, "Hey, Doc, we're making a lot of money.
Yeah.
These potholes are killing these tires.
That's right.
And we wanted to continue.
Yeah.
Because look, Doc, we've seen you, 3 or 4 times in the last couple of years getting new tires because of the potholes.
The potholes, they growing, they producing more potholes. Right. They laughing at us, I think they be want to get you and then want to slam you and then want the granddaddy will really just tear your car up. And when you look up, just keep in mind,
tires are expensive, and that's not covered by
it's
insurance.
not just the tires; it's tearing up the rack and pinions.
Right.
It's doing damage to your car.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay,
so this is by him, committing to do that. It's going to make a big difference.
Yeah. I wanted to use my phone and see if 3 o'clock in the morning one of them people ain't going out there tearing up the street. So when the sun come up, all they got to do is sit there and wait.
Right.
Man, why you sitting here? You ain't getting no business. Just wait. Okay, by 10 o'clock, they got all the business in the world, the pothole. Yeah, so I was encouraged that he put money in there for that. So thank you, Mayor. We're all happy, about you putting money out there to take care of our brothers and sisters with housing and the potholes. Now, let's get to the reason why you're here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First of all, before we get to that, when is the next meeting for the American Legion Post 109?
The next meeting for American Legion Post 109 is the third Monday we meet the third Monday of every month. So our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, May the 20th at 6:30 p.m. And that's going to be held at Crenshaw United Methodist Church, located at 3740 Don Felipe Street and zip code 9008, right in the Crenshaw area. And that's the third Monday of every month.
Okay.
The next meeting is May the 20th.
All right. Now, the district was there at the last meeting, and you have the ability to listen to this show really from around the world. I don't know if we boosted that high, but technically it could be done. If you don't have a organization in your community where veterans can come and get together and that kind of thing, that's what this is about.
Yes.
Not only is it an announcement for the local area, but it's also to talk to you about what is being done in the local area, that if you don't have that going on in your area, why not start it? We have the young lady, what's her name, Ruth Harris. Ruth Harris was instrumental in helping to start one, and then she saw a need where the women needed a post,
American Legion Post
to themselves,
yeah.
And so they formed a all-female American Legion Post.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
post number 631.
631. Mm-hmm. So they could address their issues and talk about the things that they wanted to talk about as a unit.
Yes.
As a female unit. So just have some service on something. You don't have to have service with everything, with service on one. Now, you all have an event coming up.
Yes, we do.
April.
April 28th.
28th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Talk to us about that.
Well, as a lot of the audience knows, particularly those who live in Los Angeles, radio station KJLH, Kindness, Joy, Love, and Happiness, every year they have a Black Women's Health Forum. Okay, and it's specifically designed to deal with health issues affecting Afro-American women. It's a huge event. This year it's being held at the Long Beach Convention Center on Saturday, April 28th, from 8 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon.
Okay.
And at this forum, you have healthcare vendors, you have a number of breakout sessions, and a lot of demonstrations. The whole day is actually designed to improve the health care of Afro-American women and address certain health disparities that our community has, particularly among females. And my particular, I'm a CEO or medical director of Clear Path Life Center, and where we deal with a lot of different health issues, particularly in the holistic area, exercise, chiropractic service, masseuse, life coaching. We're going to be at this event on April 28th. We have a booth where we're going to be talking about our products. We're going to be doing a number of different things. One of the main things that we're doing there is we have a breakout session at 12 noon on that Saturday, and it's
Clear
called
Path.
Clear Path
is holding the breakout session.
Yeah,
okay.
Clear Path and Dr. Payne's House Calls has a breakout session called let's talk about sex.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is
Mm-hmm.
protection an afterthought?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to be discussing a number of issues, sex issues involving Afro American women.
Okay,
Emotional,
now
psychological, host of those.
let's do a couple of things. Is this the first year for the event, or is
No,
this
it's
how
not.
long
This
has
is
it been?
actually, I think, the 16th or 17th
17th year.
for that. The radio station has been sponsoring this event. This is our third year that we've been participating. And normally the numbers are around 15 to 17,000 women
Attendees.
attend this particular forum. And it starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. There's a general assembly for a couple of hours where they discuss topics. And then we break off into breakout sessions. And you have a very, very large vendor section where you can get just about any type of information on a number of healthcare products.
Okay. Now, the information that you hear on the Raymond Hall Show is clearly that of our guests that come on the show. It's not necessarily information that we support or provide.
I mean, you're not
but
opinionated?
Well, I guess if you find somebody on this earth that's not opinionated, you know they lied. But here's what I needed to say that in order to say this. Don't let the title mislead you. This, when I looked into it, this is something that is a health issue.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
So talk to us about what Let's Talk About Sex breakout session is going to be talking about.
Well, we're going to be interesting. We have as our guest speaker Dr. Regina Edmond, who is an Afro-American female OBGYN specialist.
Okay.
She's from the community. You know, she went to high school in Los Angeles, went to med school in Michigan, went to Spelman undergraduate school, trained at a great institution, Martin Luther King Hospital, and
Right.
OBGYN. Very, very polished and knows sisters, put it like that, knows sisters. So we're going to be discussing issues about what is healthy sex, what are some of the things that affect. Yeah, and this includes your partner. This includes vaginal dryness. Includes your diet, which exercises make sex better. You know, and there are a number of those. How does your diet affect healthy sex? A lot of time is going to be spent on STDs because let's face it, it's prevalent. You know, and the use of protection. As we know, you know, now, as my dad always told me, son, don't go out unless you have your raincoat.
Right.
And those are some of the things you're going to be discussing in this particular segment.
When I like everyone else, when I saw the headline, that's an interesting breakout session. And then when I dove into it,
Yes.
I went, okay, this really is about health.
About health.
Yes,
It's truly 100%
truly about health. Yeah. And
So, because it's really not a kinky show. It is about health.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No. I'll tell you why I went back to health. When I was waiting for the transplant, I'm in the hospital. My heart had failed to the point where I had to have that heart mate to keep me alive. And so you're screened up to a point, but there's still a few tests that they had to do. And the doctor, or whoever it was, came in and said, Mr. Hall, we're going to have to take another test. Okay, and this test is important because if you don't pass this test, no heart. And he said, we're going to have to see if you have some kind of disease where it would be a waste to give you a heart.
Of course.
And what kind of disease you talking about? He said, well, primarily sexually transmitted disease.
There you go.
Nah, don't get me wrong. I'm not a Will Chamberlain that
Not
can write a
10,000.
book. You know what I'm saying?
10,000, yeah.
But I laid there in that bed and thought about my life experiences unprotected.
Correct.
I never prayed so hard in my whole life. Lord, please let that test come back because I could not remember.
Correct.
So that's why I was talking about
Yes, I got
health.
Mm-hmm.
Health is the health component is important, because when you start thinking about, if you have a time when someone says your health or your possibility to get more help toward health is dependent on your practices in the past.
Correct.
So
I can see how that you were a little concerned for a while.
Oh man, I was
to think that might stop you from getting a transplant.
Yeah, because in earlier times you had a more. I don't know if I've just gotten older and things have not changed, but in my head I've gotten older. But we remember the Pied Piper in the living room and Aunt Liz's kitchen and all the good spots to eat and party and jazz and Maverick Flats. And, you just could go from one place to another, and it wasn't a big deal. So now we know more.
A lot more.
And now we can have more conversations. There was a time when we could not have conversations.
Of course, it was taboo in the community.
It was taboo in the community,
particularly in the church.
Yes, you couldn't have that conversation.
No, not at all.
So we encourage you. We encourage people to have healthy lifestyles. And that's what it is. Now, how long is the event going to last?
The event starts at 8 in the morning, ends around 4:30.
Okay.
And there's plenty of time to see and do everything. Plenty of time. And we encourage people to visit all the booths. So obviously, we want you to come to our booth. But we encourage to really, enough time to see a lot. There's a lot of good breakout sessions, and there's 2 segments. There's a breakout session that starts from 10:30 to 11:45, and another session from 12 to 1. And during those sessions, there are a number of different breakout sessions for you to choose from.
Now, do you have to RSVP?
You really not. All you have to do is show up.
Show up.
I would encourage people. The event starts at 8. Be there by 7:30 or 7:15, because this is a packed event. 15,000. And the breakout session, we know our breakout session just by its title alone. Let's talk about sex. It's going to be packed. It holds 250. So I would advise you, when the General Assembly is over and you do your thing, mosey on up to our breakout session so you can get a good seat. We'll have a lot of giveaway gifts there. I think Now, I know the information that's going to be imparted there is going to be powerful. In addition to unprotected sex, you're going to learn a lot about, quote, healthy sex during that 1 hour.
Okay. And is there a cost for the event?
The event is free.
Okay.
All it costs you is your 6 or 7 hours there. But, that time spent is well worth it. It's free. Free.
What about parking?
Free. Parking there's ample parking. The Long Beach Convention Center has a ton of parking,
and it's a beautiful place.
And so last year,
got the fountains out front.
It wasn't a problem at all with the parking. There's plenty of refreshments there. A lot of food venues. So it's really, I've enjoyed not only participating in the event, but it's actually informational gathering when I was there.
Right.
I made a lot of good contacts, so I think it's an incredible event.
I enjoy events there because it's open, it's space, there's enough space for people to move around and those kind of things. Now, are you scheduled for the first breakout session?
No, our breakout session, let's talk about sex, is scheduled for 12 o'clock.
Okay.
12 to 1 o'clock.
Okay.
And then after that, my team, we're holding a special cardio dancercise demonstration on the main floor near the vendors, and where we're going to have our trainers, our physical education trainers, PT trainers. They're going to be out there demonstrating good cardiovascular exercise to help you, not just sex, but to help you in general.
To get moving.
Right. And because I tell you, sex is a lot more enjoyable when you're in good shape.
All right, well, I'm going to take his word on that. Sometimes you take what you can get and keep moving with it. Okay. We have with us Dr. Payne, and he is the principal of Clear Path and Payne's House Calls. They're going to have an event on the 28th of April down there in Long Beach. Here again, we're talking about things that if you see that there's a need in your community, get involved, okay? And you can follow us at the Raymond Hall Show, and don't forget, like us. You can look at our social media platform. You can follow us on Twitter and iTunes and SoundCloud and that kind of things. You can catch us live on Facebook, 2 o'clock Thursday. Just click Facebook and go to the Raymond Hall Show, and you'll be looking live, and then we'll be streaming on it after that. We are so thankful for Morris Media Studios. We record here out of Morris Media Studios in the iconic Leimert Park here in Los Angeles, California. Dr. Payne has been a integral supporter of this show, the American Legion, Post 109, and Clear Path, and Dr. Payne's House Call. You do so much for the community.
Yeah, and we also, I want to throw this in too. We also, every 2 months, we offer a free, I'm going to say that again, free CPR class.
Okay.
And if you want to sign up for our CPR class, you can call this number, 323-903-5452.
Okay.
And we offer free CPR classes, and there really is no excuse not to know CPR, particularly when the class is free.
Right. So now, do you have a web address?
We do have a web address at clearpathlifecenter.org.
Okay.
You can get us there at www.clearpathlifecenter. And also we have an email address, info@clearpathlifecenter.org.
Okay.
Easy to Google. You can find out information. We have a phone service you can call and talk to our manager, and she'll give you additional information about the events that are going on.
Okay. Well, I want to thank Dr. Payne, and I want to thank you for all that you do in the community.
Thank you.
If I may, for the veteran community, I want to thank you for your work you do as commander of the post. It's easy when we talk about people who lead and lead by example. Dr. Payne is one of those people in lead by example.
Of course, when you're associated with Brother Hall, who is a ex-Marine, you have no choice.
I'm the wrong Marine to follow.
I'm saying though, I think Brother Hall kind of exemplifies that spirit, that aggressiveness of the United States Marine Corps, and Mr. Hall is in our post. He's a very intricate part of our post. We thank him not only for allowing us to be on the show and talk about the Veterans Fair, but just all the work he does for veterans. It's very difficult to, at times, to be a veteran. Because
that's true.
Thank God that we were active duty when we were young.
Yes.
Certainly wouldn't do it when we were old.
No.
But being a veteran carries a lot of significance, because things happen during that 2, 3, or 4 year period of time, regardless whether you're an officer or enlisted man. It was truly traumatic.
Yeah.
And to have people now like Mr. Hall continue to cry and initiate support for our veterans who, see, the thing about our veterans, they serve with pride.
Right.
And even now, if you're in this community, when you walk over to Leimert Park and you see the homeless vets, one thing stands out. They have their unit insignias on. They have their caps on. They are proud to have served, despite their current dilemma.
We're coming to the close of the show, but one of the things that's vitally important to understand about all persons who serve in defense of this nation, a couple of things are going on. Number one, they are commendable. You can give them a command, and they understand that it's important for them to carry out that command to the best of their ability.
Correct.
And carrying out that command to the best of their ability really is not for them, but it is for their charge. They are charged with standing that post so that the nation will be at liberty to be at liberty.
Good point. Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent.
So I think it is disrespectful that when men and women who serve this nation come home and now their service have left them in a harmed state and they are relegated to someone's lack of respect.
Lack of respect.
Okay. And whenever they're not given the treatment that they need to help them, that's a lack of respect. Whenever someone says that we have the largest hospital in our community, but we have a large community of homeless veterans,
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. So the men and women who serve this nation are serving with one thing in mind. They're serving so that you and I will be at liberty to be able to do the things that we want to do.
Another point to add to that, in 1968, 65% of Congress were made up of veterans who had served either Korea, World War II, or Vietnam. Now it's 18%.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we're coming up on the end. Replica of the Vietnam Wall was here in Gardena a couple of weeks ago, and after church service, I went to see it, and I was in an open park, and I just could not breathe. And I was a pistol for about 48 hours. I didn't want to talk to nobody. I didn't want to, it was too much. Over 58,000 names are inscribed on this wall. These are the names of men and women who actually lost their lives in Vietnam. And the least that we can do is be mindful to be respectful. So we're going to offer Dr. Payne. Dr. Payne, you got about 30 seconds. So tell us again, give us some contact information.
Once again, any information you want to gain about what we're doing, you can call area code 323-903-5452. We'll bring you up to date on all the events, what's happening. I look forward to seeing everyone at the KJLH Black Women's Health Forum on Saturday, April 28th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Okay. And we are so thankful to have you here. We especially want to thank our newest listening family, all of the men and women and children that are there at Do Right Christian Center. I so enjoyed being there with you last night. It was an enjoyable time. Everybody, if you think the show has value, then like us, tell friends about it. Mrs. Walker, we hope that we will be seeing you soon. You are truly missed. We thank Morris Media Studios for giving us this opportunity to broadcast from this highly technical facility. And we want to thank all of everyone who serve in their own various ways. Service is a foundation, and every time you give service, it adds to the foundation. Now, what does the foundation do? The foundation lets you build a structure bigger and bigger and bigger. The very rights that Flint has to be able to address the wrong came because people built a foundation even before someone did what they did. We want to thank you for tuning in to the Raymond Hall Show. We want to thank you for the service that you give. We want to thank you that you are part of the fabric of America that holds to the fact that service is a different conversation, and the service of you is the strength of the nation. Have a good evening. This is Raymond Hall at the Raymond Hall Show.